guys. I've already recorded a video today, and it's gonna be really weird because the tone of that video is gonna be very different from this one. So this is gonna get interesting. The reason I'm making this video is because I've always been transparent about my personal beliefs, and despite a lot of changes that have happened in the past 2 years, I don't think that needs to change now. So as I put in the title, I left my church. And I had thought about sharing mission stories before. So I guess you're gonna get a couple now. I had a rough patch the previous 2 years. As of April 10th, 2025, I've been diagnosed with autism for 2 years now. And before that, I had a really hard time. So I decided I would start at the very beginning as to why some of my faith or my beliefs were changing. So here we go. So I started getting my shelf items technically when I was a teenager, because I grew up being taught that being gay wasn't bad, that it wasn't evil, and we should love and accept others for who they are no matter what. Because being gay to me seemed I'm trying to find the right word. It seemed harmless, because you know, like, there's like worse things in your life that you could do. You could steal, you could lie, you could cheat, you could murder someone. But when you're gay, that just means you love the same gender. So to me, it just didn't make sense to be homophobic. And I didn't want to be homophobic. I wanted to be kind. And I wanted to make people feel accepted. And I think part of that was the undiagnosed autism, me feeling like I would never fit in, I would never be accepted, and I didn't even know why. I didn't know what it was about me that people were like, Trisha's weird, yeah, that's, and I had labeled myself as a misfit because of the undiagnosed autism. And even growing up, like, in my ward, I have a close friend who would agree with me on this, but people in that ward seemed very cliquey. And so I wasn't really, like, close friends with anyone that was actually my age. They were all, like, a year or two younger than me. And that was it. So yeah, that was a little hard. So yeah, and I just didn't believe, like, Jesus would hate, like, gay people. That was something that I just couldn't get behind. Like, I just couldn't believe it. So that became, like, a shelf item, meaning, like, for some ex-Mormons, it means, like, I'll deal with this later. But for me, it meant, like, well, it does mean I'll deal with it later. Because I would say, like, maybe we'll find out in the next life why God made gay people, even though, like, he doesn't want gay people. Like, it just, again, made no sense to me. But I was like, well, maybe there is a reason we just don't know or can't know yet. It's just, I'm cringing at myself. Yeah, and then I went on a mission with undiagnosed autism, so that was fun. Um, but the interesting thing was, I always had this attitude of like, you can't force someone, or you can't make someone believe in what you believe in. I had this attitude of like, well, if they're interested, they'll be interested. If it's meant to be, it will be. I can't force people to listen. I can't force people to believe in what I believe in. That's a journey they have to take on their own. And then on my mission, which surprisingly this didn't break my shelf sooner, but I had a very toxic companion on my mission for 5 months. I'm trying not to swear, guys, I'm sorry. Because, like, I don't have a full grasp of what my demographic actually is. So, I'm on social media to have fun and just be myself. Whoever wants to watch will watch. But, like, anyways, that's besides the point. We're not here to talk about that. So yeah, I had a very toxic companion on my mission for 5 months, and that was a nightmare. Caused a lot of issues when I came home from my mission, because people were like, why aren't you over this yet? Like, it's over. And I had this moment of like, well, I know I'll get over it, but it still hurts. And I'm surprised at my past self, and maybe I should give her a pat on the back, because I didn't let it affect my faith or my testimony or my beliefs. I just was like, I don't know. It's just like, I was just like, oh yeah, she was a little cuckoo, but whatever. I got through it. But I guess I just didn't know how to address it. So now that I had my autism diagnosis, I kind of went back and thought, you know, there's definitely nothing wrong with anything that I did. I did my best during those 5 months. She didn't do her best. And it feels very good to say that. So yeah, and I made notes. I remember, like, I would pray for strength and help. Got no answers. I didn't know how to handle the situation, because she was very toxic. Every mistake that happened was always my fault. I was always the problem. I had to, basically, I feel like she wanted me to change every aspect about me to fit whatever mold she created in her Delulu land. Because she's a narcissist. And she, you know, like, narcissists will try to drag you into their Delulu land instead of the real world. So in her Delulu land, everything I did was bad. I like cats. Cats are of the devil. I prefer to take Tylenol over Advil. Tylenol is of the devil. And she wasn't saying that because she was, like, legit, like, oh, that's all of the devil. Like, she was just saying, it was like a sarcastic kind of thing. But it's still annoying when someone tells you, like, everything you prefer, everything you like, everything you do is wrong. It's of the devil. It's like, it's not right. Like, something's wrong with you. So, again, narcissist in Delululand saying everything about me is just wrong, because everything about me was in the real world. It didn't fit into her Delulu world. I didn't fit into this mold that she created for me, which is weird, because like that's exactly what it feels like to be autistic. There's a mold that society has created that is just not for you because you're autistic. You don't fit into that mold. And I'm not, like, comparing, like, society to, like, narcissism, Delulu world. I'm just saying, like, in society, there's, like, a very specific mold that autistics just don't fit into, and that's why autistic people are seen as weird and different and wrong. And I mean, like, autistic people who experience a similar symptoms to me, because I know there's a huge spectrum of autism where some people, like, need constant assistance, where in my experience, like, I do need help with certain things, but for the most part I can exercise my own independence. But there are moments where I'm like, I need someone's help with this thing. But yeah, anyway, so during that time we ended up with a third companion, and it was kind of messed up because my response was, oh, that's gonna be fun, because what it was this thing for Temple Square Sister Missionaries. If you live in Utah, you've seen them. They're from all around the world. They'll have like a flag, their flag under their name tag. So we were getting someone who wasn't from the States. So she was like, it was like a home away from home situation. And this sister, I won't say her name, but she was an absolute sweetheart. She was from Japan. She spoke English really well. But she taught us some Japanese words. Eshiteru. Yes, eshiteru, which means I love you in Japanese. So that was really cool. Like, she was just, I really liked her. She and I had some, like, similar, like, interests. We just didn't know why, but both of us really liked looking at, like, flags of the world, because they fascinated us. And she and I both kept saying we love the world, because I think both of us are fascinated by the fact that there's, like, all kinds of different people, there's all kinds of different cultures and foods and languages and clothing and holidays and celebrations and traditions and cultural norms. All of that can be really fun to study. So both of us were, like, really fascinated by, like, how we were all different, and we were celebrating that. So yeah, this girl had a big heart, and she really cared about people. But, like, before she came along, like, my companion, the toxic companion, she was like, oh my gosh, our mission president is sending someone to spy on us, because we were having so many problems with our companionship, because she was nasty. And the lack of self-awareness was incredible. I don't understand entitled people. So it was like, okay, and I was like, I don't think that's it. But I remember thinking, like, if you think that's the problem, maybe you need to look at yourself in the mirror and ask why. I didn't have the guts to tell her that at the time, sadly, but it's true. Like, it was like, girl, look at yourself in the mirror and ask, why is this happening? So yeah. And then after my mission, I was on a spiritual high. And I have a lot of stories. I have, like, a really good story about how I figured out that I was never the problem. Like, I have a story that confirms that. So if you want to hear that story, put it in the comments, because I'm not against, like, sharing stories. I love telling stories. That's just who I am. So yeah, I had a spiritual high that lasted for quite a few years. And then I graduated college. I started working for a colleague of mine. We were making these specialized custom hoodies, and that was really good, because she knew I was on a journey of, like, getting an autism diagnosis. Like, I was trying to get there, because I really wanted a diagnosis, because my family wanted me to get diagnosed, which in some ways kind of sucks, because it was like, it's like when you're trying to tell someone, I think I have this condition, and for years they don't believe you, and then when you get the doctor's note saying, she has this, they're like, oh, well, okay, that makes sense now. And it's like, I've been trying to tell you this, you weren't listening. But, you know, it's all worked out now. But before then, I was working for a small business. And sadly, my employer got into a car accident, and she was okay, thankfully, but she ended up with some health issues. She was bedbound for a while, and she was like, I don't think I can continue this business. I think I have to stop. And it was really sad. I found myself unemployed, and I kind of panicked. And so because of that, I made the worst decision in my entire life. I firmly believe this was the worst decision I had ever made. I decided to work for the church, and I was still trying to post videos at the time. I even I did Doki Doki Literature Club while I was working for the church. I don't want to go into too many details, but I had a really hard time. The schedule was 5:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. It was nice to be let out earlier, but the schedule was literally killing me. And it was the type of job where I had to stand for 8 hours every day. Again, I won't say where I worked, but I want to be transparent, but I also don't want to make myself uncomfortable, if that makes sense. Basically, I was sewing the Mormon underwear. It's called temple garments. I was sewing women's garment bottoms, silk. It's crazy that I remember all that. And it was a nightmare. I hated it. I'm sorry if I get emotional. Because I hated the person that I was turning into when I worked at that place. I was angry, I was bitter, I couldn't get out of bed in the morning, so I was using a lot of paid time off. And then, my mental state was really bad, and, you guys had seen a video of that where I had made a video saying that I needed a break from YouTube because I wasn't seeing progress with my channel at the time either. And that was very discouraging because I was like, man, I would love to have more subscribers so I can make money on YouTube so I can leave this terrible place that I was working at. But yeah, it was standing under fluorescent lighting for 8 hours a day with breaks. And then I couldn't sew fast enough. They wanted quality and quantity. And I was like, okay. So but the problem was when I gave them quantity, meaning a high number, and I was able to hit the goal for the day. It would lower my quality, and I would get severe burnout, and I just couldn't function for the rest of the week, really. But if I focused on quality, my quantity would drop, so I couldn't balance both of those things. And what's really weird, and I wouldn't be surprised if I got comments like this because of how many people have told me this. They were like, wait, so do they want quality or quantity? And I would say they want both. And they're like, both? Like, shouldn't they want quality though? Like, and it was very strange. It's like some people just didn't understand, like, why they wanted both. And I was like, it kind of made sense to me because I was like, okay, you want to do a job well, so if they want you to make a lot and sew them well, like, it made sense. But people kept saying, well, that doesn't make sense. And I was like, I don't know how to make this more clear. They want quality and quantity. And it got more and more frustrating. So I after I got my diagnosis, hang on, might have to continue a part 2 of this.